So today we're going to look at that ambient tone that I created. I made a point that I used my Positive Grid Spark 2 to get that tone, and I had a few requests on, how do you achieve it. Basically, I'll just show you the amp I use, the effects I use, and just the whole chain, and also show you some demos while I'm at it. Because I'm new to ambient tones, honestly. I love the way they sound. I've been listening to a lot of Rabeh Masad. I think that's how you say his name. He basically made a video on how he makes his ambient tones. And this was kind of a version that I translated from that video into the app, the Positive Grid Spark app here. I'm going to show you exactly what I use to get this tone. First, let's play around a little bit with it, just to show you kind of the dynamics and how the amp breaks up real nice. I really think that sounds good. This is usually the amp I use for my cleans that kind of break up at the end. I'm using my, I don't know if you can see it, I'm using my neck pickup here. So it's really warm, nice humbucker on the Ibanez Quest here. I have a tone switch to split it, but this also sounds really good if I do some of those in-betweens. Moving over to my phone now, I'm actually going to pull all these out of the chain just to show you. We're just going to start with the amp. So you can see the gain's a little bit past 7 almost. The bass is pretty much straight up top, middle. You can see that. The treble's actually dialed back on this one. You can push it a little more, honestly, but I'll show you how it sounds. I'm going to go back to my neck pickup position. This is, oh, sounds like the delay's still on. This is just the amp. And I can even turn up the treble a little more. Which sounds good, but I'm going to dial it back because I am running through an EQ right afterwards. But before we do that, we're going to go to our pre-effects. First off, I have this comp pedal. It's real simple. 2 knobs, just output, sensitivity. You can see where those knobs are at. Next, I have the clean drive. I think this sounds like the best drive on the Spark 2, honestly. I'll show you what it does. It's just nice to have that right after the compression. It really makes it warmer and saturates it nicely. And right after the amp we're not going to do any modulation effects, we're just going straight to an EQ. It's looking pretty flat, honestly. I cut some 200, some mud, flat through the mids, and it looks like 3.2K has a cut down about a decibel. So there's a little boost, 1.6K, there's a little boost, and then there's a cut at 3.2. So let's see how it sounds right after, just with those effects. Now if I go to middle pickup position, or bridge pickup, you can tell all the pickups sound really full. This is a good tone if you're running through humbuckers. Even on the bridge, it doesn't sound too thin or anything like that, but I really like the way the neck sounds. Like, it really saturates nicely. Next up, we have our delay. We're using echo tape. You can set the BPM if you want, or you can use the short long knob to kind of set the tempo. I like it right around 400 milliseconds, it looks like, because I don't really want that like tap delay. I want a longer, just to kind of fill up some space. The sustain looks like it's right at 5. Volume is going to be like the wet knob, basically, wet dry knob. Looks like it's at about 3. And the big reason why I use this delay compared to the other delays in the Spark software is it has this tone knob, and you can see I have it way dialed back to 2. So if it's all the way open, like most of the other delays are, like a low pass that's all the way open, you kind of get this artificial delay. It's kind of, it's not bad, but it's a different vibe. What we're going for is that warm, darker. We're turning it down to about 2. Just so those repeats are really dark and they sound like they're fading away, and they got this warm vintage sound to them. Last but not least in the chain, we're using, kind of surprising, but I like the reflection sound, so I've been using the reflection pedal. I thought that some of the other reverbs sounded better, but after listening to them and experimenting, I like this one for my ambient tone. Also, a big point of using this one compared to the others is it has EQ, so it has high cut, low cut. I'm cutting out a tiny bit of mud, but I'm really dialing back the high cut here. You can see 2.8. I'm really cutting off a lot of high frequencies, some of those cheap artificial frequencies that we get in a lot of reverb pedals. So I'm actually going to take the delay away just so you can hear the reverb real quick. And again with this one, the level is basically the mix knob, the damping about 3, the dwell is at 6.5, and the time is at about 5. It doesn't go by milliseconds, but that's probably 5 seconds there, especially when I throw the delay, the echo tape, and back in here. You'll see kind of how those two blend together now. And to my ears, that's just gorgeous. I'm always open for feedback on my tone. You can copy this exactly how you want. You can modify it and let me know if there's something cool that I'm missing, or some other way to get a cool ambient dark tone like that. I really feel like the Spark 2 is like made for audio engineers and producers, you know, like I feel like for the casual player, they're not going to get very much out of it. Even with the Spark Cloud, there's, I'd say around 90% of the tones aren't very good. You really have to go in there and modify it yourself. I use the EQ on every tone I make. It really helps me shape the sounds of the amps. I think this is one of the best sounding amps, the AC Boost. The Spark 2 is very producer friendly. It seems like if you're a producer or a audio engineer, you're really going to like this thing. And just know that there's going to be some tweaking, and it's not really going to come out of the box sounding amazing. Especially if you're into high gain tones, I would suggest running pedals through before this amp. But as you can hear, the cleans and the breakup tones in this amp are actually really nice. Very pleasantly surprised by that. So I'll end this video with a little jam, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.